Anyway, this is Jeff Van Dyke, and this is my second story of the day. I'll maybe do two of these a day, just so you guys don't think that I'm cracking up or I'm on the treadmill. A lot of guys are wondering what I'm doing here. I just love coming on this treadmill. Not really. I want to tell you guys about another really cool story. This involves it was kind of funny, actually, in a way. I went to Plainview High School. By the way, hey, Kenny Coleman, if you're listening, man, and Ken Epstein. Hope you guys are doing good out there. By the way, sorry about that light, the light behind me. But anyway, I went to Plainview High School, and I was in the school band, and that was the greatest time of my life, man, being in that school band. And I was with, there was Doug Florence that was in the drum section. He was really good. Bill Becker, really good reader. By the way, Doug didn't study. Bill Becker studied with Al Miller. I studied with Al Miller. Then there was that guy, Ronnie. But he was he left the high school before me. He was older than me. But in any event, then I'll never forget, this guy came into the band. He had just moved to Plainview. I guess maybe when I was in 11th grade or 12th grade. And his name was Gary Carnevale. I want to dedicate this story to Gary. Gary passed away probably, I don't know, probably about 10, 12, 13 years ago. I really felt terrible about that. But anyway, let me tell you what happened. And then I want to dedicate this story to Gary as well. Gary came into the school band, and he was unbelievable. I mean, he had technique. Now, don't forget, in high school, I guess maybe we were 16, 17 years old, and he had technique. He was able to play what Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa did at that age. I mean, no contest, Gary did stuff, that was on the level of Buddy Rich. Showed me a couple of things, too. If you guys look at some of my films, I quote quite a few things that Gary showed me. The stick click stuff, some of the power triplets that I do. Just, mainly just a few of those things that he showed me how to do. Though he didn't give me lessons, we would get together from time to time. And also, too, Gary had a set of vibes. And that inspired me to eventually get a set, but though I never really pursued the vibes on a professional level, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, what happened was, they had the Senior Follies. It was kind of like a talent show for all the seniors. And Gary wanted to play the drums for the show, and he wanted to do a drum battle. So we asked Doug Florence, because Doug Florence was probably the best soloist in the school, by far. Doug was a really good solo. I think Doug studied with Howie Mann, I think. He didn't study with Al. Doug had some really good stuff going on. And he had done a TV show with Steve Berman, where he actually played the drums. It was like a talk show, and it was videoed and everything. The reason I remember that is because Steve asked me to do the music for the show. I played the piano, and it was a talk show, so in between the breaks, I played, I played Color My World. I was actually playing keyboards as far back then. But anyway, and that's another story, which I'll talk about eventually, learning to play keys. So Gary asked Doug, to do the drum battle. And what happened was about a week or two before, I guess, I don't know if they got together to rehearse. I guess they probably got together to rehearse, with the two drum sets. And Doug, decided, he didn't want to do it. What I think happened was Doug Florence, I think he chickened out. And I think the reason he chickened out, is Doug was sort of like considered right to be, you know, the best drummer in the school. By the way, he was also too one of the best pitchers. He was a really good baseball player. Yeah, I never made the baseball team, but anyway. Oh, by the way, I did knock a triple off of him, all right, in Little League once. I must have gotten lucky, right, because I connected the ball right to the opposite field. That's another story. But anyway, so Doug chickened out. So Gary goes, you know, I guess he asked me, he said, listen, you know, it's a couple of weeks away. You want to do this, a drum battle with me, or drum duo with me. And I said, well, you know, Gary, right, you know, you're a lot better than I am, you know, I don't know, you know. I was like kind of working around on the Soul Sacrifice solo. Remember that solo Michael Shrive did at Woodstock? I was right on about that level. I don't know if I had the triplets as good, but I was playing that solo. And that was like the basis of my solo. But anyway, we kind of got together with the two drum sets. Gary said to me, listen, this is not going to be about me competing with you or looking better than you. It's going to be like a duet where I'm going to feature what I do well and then what you do well. So I don't remember. Somebody filmed it. If anybody has that film, all right, please let me know, all right, because somebody filmed it. I'll never know who filmed that thing. For years, all right, I used to ask people, do you know who filmed that thing? This was before we had video cameras and stuff. But somebody had some kind of, it must have been like one of those old VHS recorders. But in any event, we got to, you know, we rehearsed it and we put together a really, really nice thing. And the day it came, we actually did it I think 2 times because the Follies were, I think, on a Friday and a Saturday. And I'll never forget, it was like the highlight of my playing career, you know, being able to be on the stage with Gary, you know, and, you know, it was really cool, right, because Gary, right, didn't, of course, right, he was the better drummer, but it wasn't a drum battle, it was like kind of a drum duet, and that's what made me really feel good about it. It wasn't around like he was making me look less proficient, and I really thank him for that always. But in any event, what was real cool was a lot of people in the school, you know, I was kind of like sort of picked on a lot, you know. A lot of the bullies that I used to pick on. There was a small, scrawny guy, and, you know, I remember this guy, Michael Zephyr, right? Man, right, I should have laid him out. He used to come over to me and punch me in the arm for no reason. Anyway, I have to ask him about that. He didn't mean anything by it. It hurt. A couple of guys, right, ripped my locker off, and I don't know. I remember one time, right, some guy, right, poured the right, what is that? That sticky stuff, right, that they use, right, to make paper mache in all my notes. Oh man, right? They really gave me the business. But I'll never forget the day after the Follies. A lot of people were coming over to me, going, "Wow, Jeff, you know, you're a really, pretty good drummer, man." You know, it was like really, really cool. People who I didn't even know. And I think Bill Becker even complimented me, which is a big compliment because Bill, well, he did all the shows. He was a really, really good reader. He did the Hello Dolly, Jesus Christ Superstar. In those days, they had a show band. And so anyway, that was the story. Now I just want to talk a little bit. If you guys go on YouTube and you type in Jeff Inday Drum Summit Solo, I talked a little bit about Gary at the beginning of that clip. It's kind of emotional because he had passed away not too long, not too far from that date. Drum Summit Solo was a while ago. It was when I wore a younger man's clothes. I'm still in pretty good shape now, but in any event. But the other story is this, which makes me a little emotional. Gary, right, after high school, he worked right over at the Professional Percussion Center for a good amount of years. And, oh, wait a second, who's calling me? I can't get this now. I don't pick up right when I'm on the treadmill. But you know what? Let me. I gotta pause this thing here. So anyway, Gary had. He was sort of like a hermit, Gary. You know, he really didn't want to have too much contact with me. And I guess it was just the way he lived. He just wanted to kind of be by himself. Unbelievable drummer. I think he had an audition with the Lionel Hampton band. I don't know if he played with him or not, but he was amazing. He was just unbelievable. So he was kind of a hermit, and over the years, I tried to always call him to see if we could get together and hang out, but he never got back to me, you know. And so eventually, I just sort of respected that. And I'm going to walk right over to the I have to go over to the loo. But the bottom line, basically, is I respected that, and I decided that, he doesn't really want to talk to me. And I respected that. I was disappointed. I kind of missed him, you know. And then I found out, and then one day, it was after my television show had been on for a couple of, I don't know, maybe a year or so, and I got a call, he goes, Jeff, and I knew his voice. I go, Gary? Unbelievable. He goes, I can't believe it, man. I saw you on TV. You really, I said to him, did you see, he was complimenting me. Really, really cool. So I said to him, do you see a lot of you in me? And he goes, yeah. And that was a really cool moment. And we were going to get together, because he was living with his parents at the time. Gary had gone through some hard times, some health problems, and that's unfortunately why he passed away. He had the blood, some kind of a blood thing. And but we were going to get together, and he was going to give me some instruction, and unfortunately, he passed away not too long after that, and I really miss him. But anyway, that was the story, right? And hey, Doug Florence, I'm glad you chickened out, right? By the way, I think the way Doug felt was he didn't want to be humiliated, in front of the whole class, that Gary, would have blown him off the stage. But the thing is he didn't blow me off the stage. He just let me do what I did. And the last thing that I'll say is Gary said that during the solo, at the end, and I don't remember this, but he said that this is what I did, that I came over to him, and I got off my riser, because we were both on these risers. It was pretty cool. We played around in front of the whole school. There must have been around about 600 people in there. And it was really good feeling. And I got off my drums after we were done, and I went over to him and I bowed to him, and he said that, and that's all I remember. I bowed and I applauded him, and that probably would have been something that I would have done. I don't remember doing it though. Maybe you're right, because I had drank a bottle of Tango, to relax, which wasn't such a great idea, but I wasn't drunk or anything. But anyway, I don't drink anymore. See you guys soon, and I hope you liked the story. I'm going to tell you some more stories later. See you with the Power Director!